Welcome to Healthy Living, your health awareness show on Afro Worldview, the show that keeps you informed with all your health-related matters. My name is Ronald Abaji, and today we pay homage to cancer survivors as part of the international efforts to demonstrate that life after cancer diagnosis can be a reality. But first, let's check out what we have for you today on the show. We speak to Professor Michael Herbst from Cancer. Esther Pretorius shares her journey as a cancer survivor and wrap up with an easy winter workout routine. Whether you have recently been diagnosed with cancer or whether you are a veteran who has undergone the rigors of treatment or if you are now in remission, you are considered a survivor. Professor Herbst of the Cancer Association of South Africa spoke with us on the challenges of cancer treatment and Survivors Chronicles. Professor Herbst, thank you for joining us once again.
It's so nice to be with you people again.
The journey that you are on at cancer, it just doesn't end. There's always something happening. There's always new research, new alignments, new partnerships and fundraising and campaigns that are happening.
Absolutely, you know, and even though we do have our darker days, because it's not always easy to sit across the desk and somebody informs you, I've just been diagnosed with cancer, to really counsel them and to show empathy and not to become emotionally involved, because the circumstances often are very, very difficult. But it's wonderful. Afterwards, you say to yourself, thank you, God, that I had the opportunity to make a contribution to change somebody's life for them.
That is priceless, the priceless gift. Professor, looking at just, where we come from with cancer and understanding, do we have any stats as to, on average, how many people in South Africa have cancer?
Well, do you know that on average we have about 100,000 people being diagnosed with cancer every year? And let me tell you, it's not necessarily a case of that is the full total. Those are only the cases that were histologically diagnosed, meaning that a tissue sample was taken and sent to the lab. Those are the only people whose statistics appear in the National Cancer Registry. If they were diagnosed because of an X-ray or with clinical or following surgery, the stats don't appear in the cancer registry. We're changing, hopefully within the next year or so, to a population-based registry, and then we will have all the stats.
I think it's a good thing to have, because we have to accept the reality of the situation.
Well, you've got to have a true picture of the bigger picture.
When we look at people living with cancer and have been diagnosed with cancer, many associate it with it being a death sentence, for lack of a better phrase. But we know that there are certain cancers, if you catch them early enough, there is treatment available,
Absolutely.
that is affordable. And we have a lot of people that are now surviving, cancer. And that is, for me, is an amazing opportunity to capitalize on. Because when I say capitalize, I mean in the context of creating awareness thereof, that there is hope.
And you mentioned the real true words when you said, if caught early. Early diagnosis is so, so important. You know that there are some of the cancers, I think, for instance, something like testicular cancer. The cure rate, if it's diagnosed early, is 99.9%. But if not, the prognosis gets worse and worse and worse. And this is the sad side of the situation in South Africa. Our health system is not coping.
Now, when we look at surviving cancer, do you have any stats as to how many people actually survive every year?
We work mostly on stats that we get from abroad. And it's difficult to compare because South Africa is South Africa and every country is different. The health system is different. So we cannot really compare. But in general, we say that approximately 40 to 60% of adults are cured of their cancer. But children, as much as 80%, can be cured of their cancer.
That is an amazing statistic.
Treatment has changed, and it changes every day. But unfortunately, we don't have, well, we do have access, but we cannot afford it. The latest treatment of cancer is called immunotherapy. And just last week, a new medicine was announced for non-small cell lung cancer. But it will cost in South Africa in the vicinity of 4 million rand for one person over a few weeks of treatment.
4 million
4
rand.
million rand.
Professor, the reality is that's unattainable for the majority of people
Well,
on the
practically
continent.
everybody, absolutely, everybody on the continent won't be able to afford that.
When we look at these challenges that you're facing and that cancer is championing to make treatment more affordable, to create greater awareness of cancer and recovering from cancer and what you need to do, what role within cancer survivors does living a healthy lifestyle play, like eating healthy and exercising?
Be active, do not smoke, avoid alcohol, or at least limit it as far as possible. Then we also want to say, limit red meat intake, because that is also linked to certain forms of cancer. Yes, those things are very, very true, but not very easily attainable always. But if you think of it, that it can change the course of your life, and you can live a much more healthy lifestyle, then we should all strive to do all those beautiful things and stay clear of the things that can harm our bodies.
Professor, is it true that if you recover from cancer at some stage in your life, cancer could always come back?
Your chances are always there because we're still a human being. And we know that we live in a toxic soup. We've got so many pollutants in the air, in the food we eat, just in the total environment, things we put on our bodies and things we take into our bodies. Yes, you always stand a chance of getting a cancer, because we must remember that every cancer, even though we call all of them cancers, there are over 200 different types of cancer.
How important is it to continue celebrating those that have survived cancer and utilize them as ambassadors to inform, educate, and give people hope who are living with cancer?
Absolutely. Wonderful idea, and we do have ambassadors. We also have a unique item where ladies will come forward and they will present themselves to be able to come a Mrs. South Africa as far as cancer awareness is concerned. So we do have that program, and it's wonderful. And just for interest's sake, we divide survivorship in cancer into practically more or less 3 stages. We say you're a survivor the moment that you have been diagnosed, and you remain a survivor until you die of whatever cause. But the first phase is living with cancer. You've been diagnosed. So you live with cancer, and you then start your treatment, and upon treatment you go into phase 2. And that then is living through cancer. And the moment your treatment stops, you live beyond cancer. So we always talk about living with, through, and beyond. And there's always hope beyond cancer.
Wow, I think that is something that is so tangible and real that we all need to appreciate, because cancer affects those that are living with cancer or have survived it, but also those around them. What is your final word of wisdom to the viewers out there when it comes to surviving cancer and that you do have hope?
Let us all strive to reach the best possible stage of health by getting rid of all the things in our lives that we know are not good for us, and strive as far as we can to set an example to the young people so that they can carry on the future of this country.
Wow. Professor, from your mouth to everybody's ears, everyone's hearts too. Thank you so much for joining us once again on the show.
It was lovely to be with you.
The key message from Professor Herbst is that you must have hope when living with cancer, because cancer can be beaten. It's now time to check out what's in your health news.
In your health news, we celebrate National Cancer Survivors Day this month, so let's take a moment to consider the changes we can make to help prevent cancer. A landmark study by Cancer Research UK found that the top 3 preventable causes of cancer include tobacco smoke, excess weight, and overexposure to UV radiation from the sun and sunbeds. Biomedical engineers from the Medical Devices Lab at the University of Cape Town have developed an affordable, reloadable adrenaline auto-injector called the ZibiPen. The injector will provide vials of adrenaline for a fraction of the current cost of adrenaline auto-injectors to people with life-threatening allergies. The ZibiPen can be customized for any patient with needle length and dose calculated by clinicians and set by pharmacists. A study in the United States has found that many breast cancer patients can skip chemotherapy without hurting their chances of beating the disease. Most women do not need treatment beyond surgery and hormone therapy. Cancer care has been evolving away from chemotherapy, older drugs with harsh side effects, in favor of gene-targeting therapies, hormone blockers, and immune system treatments. A good question to ask yourself is when to see your doctor about diabetes, especially because symptoms are often subtle and can be missed. If you experience thirst, fatigue, an increase in appetite, frequent urination, blurred vision, frequent and recurring infections, cuts and bruises that are slow to heal, boils, itching skin, tingling and numbness in your hands or feet, then you should visit your doctor as soon as possible.
Join us after the break as we speak to Esther on her recovery journey from vocal cord cancer. Stay tuned.